Welcome to Sunday NFL Pub Hub here at Pub Sports Radio. Thank you guys so much for joining us. It's been a weekend. Breeders' Cup Friday and Saturday. NFL Sunday. Life is pretty good, man. I'm so thankful that we have all these glorious games to bet on and incredible horse races to bet on. To booze and share it all together feels pretty good. We have a spectacular show for you guys today. Mr. Gogster going to get us started here in a few minutes. Maybe get him on early so we have extra time. Then the big Ragu joining us from the Orleans in Las Vegas. Then Spenny Penny Bombs. By the way, they'll give you some records for these guys. Mr. Gogster, 7-5 plus 1.91 units. This will be his third appearance. He's been in the black both of his shows. Then we have a Ragu who started out poorly and he's heating up in his last two shows. He's 7-3 plus 4.27 units, and he's currently sitting in 7th place. Then next up, we have Spenny Penny Bombs. He made his debut last week, went 6-2 plus 3.88 units. We brought him back on immediately. Then we have Birdie back in action. Love the way the man caps, and this will be his second appearance on the show. Then we have our champ, our leader. I can't call him a champ yet, but certainly on his way. We have Brizzy joining the show. He has been absolutely spectacular, and I mean it. I mean it when I say that. He is 12-3 on this show plus 10.21 units. He went 3-0 week 2, 3-1 week 4, 3-1 week 7, 3-1 week 8. And Brizzy will also be beside myself and LJ tonight for the big Sunday nighter in Kansas City. So it's going to be a big day if I can hold on, if my liver will allow me to. It's going to be a big day. So we have Brizzy, and then we have Clint, star of the Die Hard MMA podcast. He goes for bombs and home runs. It's going to be fun to see what he has in store. And then Mack closes out our show. Thank you guys all so much for joining us. Turnsy, Mr. Vape, JB says, I feel like I've been hanging out with Jimmy all weekend. It's because we have, my man. It's because we have. Naked Ron Odin. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's Naked Ron Odin or Naked Ron Odin. Let's go with Naked Ron. Smoke and Mirrors, Bo Jackson, Rocco Rogers, Astute Chaos, Sanka, great to see you, Parl Angel, Brothers and Bets, it's been too long. What up, Brothers and Bets? Nice to have you back in action with us. Brothers Justin Irvin, Rob Garvey, Michael Murphy, Troy Torrance, Nunya, Chris Gugion, Joe Chris, Bama Boy, Dale Lowenstein. Thank you so much for supporting us here at Pub Sports Radio. Becoming a member means a ton to us. What a great group. RVD 420, Tasha, Alex Hills, Todd Clinton, Moneyline Mills, Scarminati. It is time. Jake Kaiser. It is time to get this started. I am coming off a big week, successful week last week. I am 60-34, hitting at 63.8% on the season, plus 22.7 units, ROI plus 24.15%, average line minus 110. Been very good to me. Football's been very good to me, and I love it. Chess and violence, put it together, grab a ball. It's fucking magical. I have made 7 bets, and I'm nervous. I'm a Miami, Chicago over 45.5. I'm on Colts plus 5.5. I obviously made that bet before Jonathan Taylor was announced out. I'm a little nervous. I have Indy, New England under 39.5. Buffalo, New York Jets under 47. Excuse me. I have the Commanders plus 3.5. Raiders minus 1. And Tennessee, KC under 45. I wanted to make that 46. I wanted that to be 46. When I said it on the show, I was like, okay, I'm moving on this now. I guess I waited too long to bet it. Went down to 45. So that's the situation. In the Circa Millions, our 5th pick with 57% of the votes on the show that I get to host with Jose Bouquet, the Cappers Contest show, Bills minus 12.5. The 4th pick is the Jags plus 1.5. 3rd pick is the Vikings minus 3. Second pick is the Patriots -5.5. All 4 of those bets are going up against the Sharps. Then we have the Chargers -3, and with the announcement of both Mike Williams, we knew Mike Williams was going to be up, but Keenan Allen is not coming back. That's now 2.5. So I'm very, very nervous about our Circa Millions. Picks from Dave in the house. Oh my goodness. Did you see this in the Cappers contest? Jose, I hope you're all ears for this. Wow. Look at this. Bobano not getting his picks in is an interesting development. Wow.
Hate to see it.
Wow. 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 The door is ajar. The door is ajar. Our leader, tied with Jose, did not get his picks in this week. Okay. God, it's been a tough weekend for me, but I don't have to do all the talking. My picks are out there. My videos are out there on Pub Sports Radio right now. This show is about our esteemed guests and the great cappers in the chat. Slatsy, what up, my man? J-Ro, Big Daddy, boom. Let's get BJ says Skydragon. All right, let's get to work. There's Ik Schnizzle in the house. Let's bring on your first guest, currently ranked 5th out of 19 cappers here on the NFL Pub Up. 7-5 plus 1.91 units. He's been in the black on each time he's visited us. Coming to us from Belleville, where last night he watched the Belleville Senators play the Toronto Marlies. And the barn was a rocket. And here he is right now. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Gogster.
What's going on, guys? How are we doing today? Jimmy, thanks for having me on, brother. Yeah, rough game last night. A little quick recap in the AHL. Refs were on us really hard there. Gave us a couple bench minors. So, you know, it is what it is. Marlies took the dub there. I think it was 5-2. I don't know. I left after like the last 10 minutes. So, anyways, guys, NFL today. Let's get after it there. Crazy development with Babano, though. That's Jose. That is sad to hear, eh? Up 3, 2.5 on the next closest there. Drunk Monkey. Just looking at the standings now. So, crazy development there with Babano.
The door is ajar. The door is ajar. Let's get to work, Mr. Gogster. You open up with the Minnesota Vikings 6-1, 2-1 on the road at the Washington Commanders 4-4, 2-2 at home. FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland. You have put together a correlated parlay for this game. FedEx Field, 74 Fahrenheit, cloudy, 10 miles per hour. Before we go into the injuries, let's talk about the line history of this spot. Yeah. I got in on the Commanders at plus 3.5. I'm very pleased with myself. Yeah. The 3, it opened at Pinnacle. It opened at 3, and it only lasted there for 30 minutes before it moved to 3.5. The early money was on the Vikings. The late money was on the Commanders, but this got up to plus 107 at 9:40 in the morning. So at Pinnacle. So I imagine there's probably 3.5s available again. From a total standpoint, it opened up at 44. It's now at 43.5. Let's see where the sharp action. It was on the Commanders all week. Is it still, is the question. And let's answer it right now. We have 85,972 tickets in, 47% of the tickets on Washington, and 80% of the cash.
Oh, wow.
On the total, though, you have 81% of tickets on the over, and it's dropped a half point. 81% of tickets, 71% of cash on the over, and it's dropped a half point. For the Vikings, this will be their first game without Dalvin Tomlinson, defensive lineman. Shout out to Slatsy. I love it. Slatsy, thank you for becoming a member. Res Mob, our guy. I don't know if you had the pleasure of hanging out with Res Mob. We all did in San Antonio. Just an incredible guy. Good times. Dalvin Tomlinson is out. This is going to be the first game that he has missed all year. He's dealing with a calf injury. So Kiris Tonga will be his replacement. And then for the Commanders, again, Dotson not in action. Cole Holcomb with a foot injury out. David Mayo, linebacker, out. J.D. McKissick out. Defensive end Shakatoni with a calf muscle is questionable. The good news for them is that Logan Thomas is back. No injury designation. Take it away, Gogster. Talk to us about your correlated parlay.
All right, yeah, well, you guys know the books have these a lot now. Same game parlays, famous for these. I love doing the old same game parlay. It's like a teaser, really. I'm doing a same game parlay here, guys. It's going to be similar to Jimmy. I'm on Washington here. I'm going plus 7.5, and I'm taking the over all the way down to 36.5. The reason why I think that total's so low, too, guys, looking at the weather reports, there's going to be a little bit of wind. So whenever there's wind, that makes throwing the ball a little bit tougher. So the wind's going to die down near 4 p.m. Eastern time. So that helps in the second half. But first half, expect maybe a little more running of the ball just right there. I'm looking at third down conversion rates, Jamie. I think that's going to be key here. Minnesota's 7th in third down conversions, but the thing that Washington has going for them is they are 10th. So kind of nullifies that. The big reason, though, why I like the over here, guys, on this game, and even more so why I like Washington, is Minnesota's secondary is bad. They got problems when it comes to stopping the number 1 receiver, even number 2 receiver for that matter. Jimmy, they've allowed 4 of the last 5 games. They've allowed over 24 points despite winning their last 5 games. I feel bad for saying this, Clint, but I think these guys are a fraudulent 6-1 team. I don't know about you, Jim, but that's they're winning, but it's not comfortably by any means. And also Washington here, Jimmy, they've only allowed more than 21 points in one of the last 5 games. So I think they're going to slow down Minnesota's offense. Minnesota's defense, like I was saying, guys, their defense, their secondary, Tyreek Hill and Waddle had combined, over 300 yards. And then just last week, Hopkins and Moore, they had nearly 300 yards as well, Jimmy. So there's problems in the secondary there for Washington or for Minnesota. And then looking at Washington's side of the ball, their secondaries still has problems. But the additions of Robinson has helped this team. I think they'll be able to be more play actions with Heineke, establish the run there with Robertson, and just have more of a back and forth shootout here. But I don't think I don't think either team, win by more than a touchdown, especially with Washington, how well they've been playing with Heineke. Jamie, I think this is a difference maker. Look at how McLaurin's been playing too. He's been a real stud since since Heineke's came back. So if you guys like McLaurin props, I don't mind that as well. So yeah, I'm all over the over here, guys. It's all the way down to 36.5. That's adjusted, along with Washington plus 7.5. That's plus 100, Jimmy.
I love it. I love it. I think you're in great shape here. I like your bet. I do believe the Vikings are. I hesitant to use the word fraudulent. We saw what they did in the red zone last week, and it was impressive. But they're not that good. They're not a team that I fear, and I am confidently on the Commanders. I am happy I got the hook. I did use it in the Cappers contest without the hook, so I like it. I like it. We also have looks here from LJ from H-Town. He's on Justin Jefferson over 87.5 receiving yards and anytime TD. Also Terry McLaurin over 65.5 receiving yards. Yeah. All right, Gogster, you're on the board. Washington plus 7.5 and the over 36.5. Next up for you, we head to Ford Field in Detroit, Michigan for Green Bay, Detroit. Let's go over to the line history here. And we have this Green Bay team has 4s all over the place. This opened Green Bay -3. They moved to 3.5, and now they're -4. From a total perspective, excuse me, opened up at 49.5 -111 to the under. It's now 49.5 -113 to the under. We'll take a look at the cash flow and see if it correlates there. And the Detroit Lions have been given from Sports Insights full line value. 76,451 tickets. It's a 50-50 situation. It's 50-50 with the tickets, but 64% of the cash is on the Lions. And there was more than that before. There was a big discrepancy before. It's still a legit discrepancy, and from a total side of things, 45% of tickets on the over, 51% of cash. Market seemed to not know what to do with the total. This will be the Packers' first game without their leader at linebacker. Excuse me, Devondre Campbell will not be in the lineup. Either will their quarterback Shamar Jean-Charles, but that's not as big of a deal. The question is, Bakhtiari and Jenkins are both hurt, and they're going to be playing, but they were limited participants all week. This wide receiving core may be shorthanded again. We're not sure about Lazard and Watson. They're both limited to practice and both questionable. And then what are we going to get from Swift for these Lions? We need to get more than what we saw last week. It was his first game since week 3, because of an injury. He played 55% of the snaps, and he did not look good. This Lions team has their cornerback Chase Lucas, their safety Melifonwu, tackle Matt Nelson, cornerback AJ Parker all out. Josh Reynolds is doubtful. Take it away for us here, Mr. Gogster. Packers, Lions.
Well, this is I feel a little more risky taking this one more we talk about it, but both these teams got problems, as you guys know. The Packers, actually, guys, this is just to make sure. Yeah, this is their third straight road game, Jimmy. They played at Washington, at Buffalo, and now you're going at Detroit. So never easy having 3 road games in a row. You don't usually see that from Green Bay, that being after 3 home games. But they've lost their last 4. They're allowing at least, 23 points in all those games, guys. I'm not covering many spreads. Detroit, on the other hand, they have problems on the defensive side, guys. A lot of guys questionable, cornerbacks, guys on the line, you name it. They got problems all over the place too. So what I think is going to happen here, guys, is Green Bay. They've played some tough opponents there, Jimmy, in their last few. Just pulling up their who they played. Yeah, Buffalo, Washington, the Jets, the Giants, some better defensive teams. Maybe take away Washington there, but Buffalo, the Jets, and the Giants, even New England, Tampa Bay. Now you got a depleted Detroit team, really. So Green Bay, I think, should be able to score here. I really do. And then if you look at Detroit, Jimmy, at home, this team has just been scoring all day, all night. They've scored 27 against Miami, 35 against Philly all the way back in week 1. That's a good Philly team. 36 against Washington, 45 against Seattle. So I think this is going to be a shootout in Ford Field. I'm also going to take, though, guys, a little risky. I'm going to take plus 7.5 on the Detroit Lions here, just not to get blown out here. I think you got a good spot against the Green Bay team that's nothing like what they've been in the past. So give me Detroit, guys, plus 7.5, and the over, we got it down to 40.5. That's also at plus 100. So plus 7.5, Jimmy, on Detroit, and the over 40.5 to get that to plus 100.
You got it locked in. You have the Lions plus 7.5 correlated with the over 40.5. That's giving you an even money bet on your correlated parlay. The last spot on the board for you, Gogster, is a very interesting one. It is Panthers, Bengals. Panthers, Bengals, Paycor Stadium in Cincinnati, Ohio. Our friend Spenny Penny Bombs sent us a tweet, and it was just letting us know of where the public was at certain books. He let us know over at maybe he'll bring this up. I don't have it now in front of me. Damn, I had it, but there. This is the at MGM. This is the most public bet of the week. Carolina Panthers, the most public bet at their books. Here we'll talk about the line history quickly in this one, but I was very interested to see that this was the most public spot. This opened up at Pinnacle at plus 7.5. It's still there, but it's not really there because the 7.5, the minus 7.5 for the Bengals is plus 114. So I guess let me just see what that means exactly. Let me just move over here. That means it's still sevens. Sevens at almost all the books. Sevens at all the books. And then from a total standpoint here, we have it opening up at 43 minus 103 to the under. It's now 43 minus 114 to the under. So we've had an 11-cent move to the under here. And when we take a look at the cash flow, this is the only other team on the board that Sports Insights has given full line value to. It's the Carolina Panthers. 74,220 tickets in, 49% of the tickets on Carolina, and 63% of the cash. From a total standpoint, this is another one where the books don't know really what to do with it. It's not moving off the number. So maybe they do know what to do with it. Maybe they just feel like it's a very sharp number. 52% of the tickets on the over and 47% cash on the over. We have Chuba Hubbard, Burris, their safety, Rashard Higgins, wide receiver, all out. And their tight end, Stephen Sullivan, is sick. So he is doubtful. So with Hubbard out, it means Donta Foreman show. We saw what he did last week, 118 yards and 3 touchdowns. For Cincinnati, they're going to be really light at cornerback. They do not have Mike Hilton. They do not have Chidobe Awuzie. And they may not have Trey Flowers. He's questionable. The other two are out. Take it away here, Gogster. Your last spot on the board, Panthers, Bengals.
I like how we say this one for last. This is the most interesting pick, I think, on my card here, guys. I'm taking Cincinnati minus 7. Reason why, some stats I looked into. Something that's not the greatest is Cincinnati's rush defense, Jimmy. It's 21st. in the NFL, but at home it's the fifth best. That's only in 3 games. That's against Atlanta, Miami, Pittsburgh. So not the greatest of running backs they've been tested against. And PJ Walker has looked better than obviously what you've had with Baker there. So with Cincinnati though, guys, they don't have to really worry. From what I'm seeing here is pass rush. Both these teams don't have much pass rush. What else do I got here? Cincinnati here. They're off that bad loss, Jimmy. I think that's the big reason why I'm taking I want Cincinnati too. They're coming off that really bad, embarrassing loss against Cleveland. It's just going to come down to stopping. If they can stop this Donta Foreman, who's had 118 yards in his last 2 games, so against Tampa Bay and Atlanta, 3 touchdowns too last week. He had him in fantasy. You're laughing. Donta Foreman, I almost want to take his rushing yards, Jimmy, over 69.5, but if I do that, it's kind of against the -7 on Cincinnati. So in my opinion, I'm going to trust the -7 on Cincinnati and them just to hold Carolina to, under 17 points and them to get, at least 24 here. So not one of my stronger looks on the card. I did just give it out to you though, a couple hours ago. So I'm going to rock with the -7 on Cincinnati. But if Foreman's having a day here, Jim, it's going to be a tough cover.
Well, you have Sky Dragon with you. He's leaning Cincinnati, leaning to the under.
I like that.
It says Carolina was dead, and then they beat Tampa Bay, a field goal away from leading the division last week. Not sure how they rebound on the road against a non-conference foe, and Cincinnati is in a bad mood. No Jamar Chase, but an angry Bengals team off rest.
One more thing, Jim. They're 5-6 in their last ATS. They've covered the spread 5 of the last 6 games. Just last week against Cleveland, they didn't. So this team's been, for the most part, pretty trustworthy from their bad 0-2 start against Pittsburgh and Dallas. So I'm going to trust what Cincinnati's done on a bounce back here.
Gogster, you are locked in. You have a correlated parlay where you've used alternate numbers. Washington plus 7.5 and the over 36.5. You got that at even money plus 100. Then you have the Detroit Lions plus 7.5 and the over 40.5. That also at plus 100. And then you have the Bengals -7. That's at -101. Available right now at Pinnacle.
Well, I'm nervous now. All my picks, I'm nervous now on Jimmy. I don't know why.
that's gambling, my man.
That's it. Gotta love football, guys. It's not, hockey. Sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, we got this one in the bag. They got the puck line, and football, I'm thinking -7. Yeah, shit, that might be a. But anyways, guys, you gotta love it. Football's the best. Jamie, thanks for having me on, guys in the chat. We got a bunch more great cappers coming on, so stay tuned. Save the best for last. So get me out of the way early. Jamie, I'll see you next week, Thursday, brother.
We love you, Mr. Gogster, and he'll be on the Pete Loshak show on Tuesday, and love it. There he is, Mr. Gogster. Lamont Williams is locked in as well. I'm going to copy and paste Lamont's action here. Lamont is moving max bets on the Miami money line and Tampa money line. Max bets, a 2-team parlay, Cincinnati and Miami. So, sorry, max bet Tampa Bay money line, and then a 2-team parlay for him, Cincinnati and Miami. Razor sharp picks. Woo, Rizza, Mikey P, Alex Ramirez, Abel A. Looking at Josh Jacobs over 77.5 rush yards. Let's get to work right on Talk Sports with JT in the house. He's on Green Bay, Detroit, first half over 24. Let's bring on your next guest. He's coming to us live from the Orleans Casino in Las Vegas. He's been very hot on our show. In week 5, he went 4-1 plus 3.12 units. In week 8, he went 3-2 plus 1.15 units. He's now sitting 7th out of 19 cappers here on the show. 10 wins, 8 losses, plus 1.64 units. Please welcome to the show the legend, the big Ragu.
What's shaking, baby? How's it going in pub sports world this morning, guys? Love to see the chat on fire this morning. Let's make some cash.
Let's make some cash. Love that you're coming to us directly from the book. Let's get to work, Ragu. 1 p.m. Eastern, you start your card, and I'm all ears. Your read on the Patriots has been very good, and I'm nervous as to what you are about to drop on us, because I am on the Colts plus 5.5 before Jonathan Taylor went down. I am on the under 39.5. It's 74 Fahrenheit, cloudy, 14 miles per hour is the wind at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. So no Jonathan Taylor for the Colts. Their quarterback, Tony Brown, hamstring injury. They have Matt Ryan listed as out with a right shoulder injury. But we know he wouldn't be in there anyways, but he's not going to be available to back up. Another game for the Patriots without David Andrews, their center, available. Also, Devontae Parker out, offensive tackle Marcus Cannon out. So from the Colts side of things, we're going to see a heavy amount of Deion Jackson. Remember, they traded Nyheim Hines last week, but they also traded for Zach Moss. So Zach Moss may get some play here. And Mac Jones, we'll see what he does again without his center. And the injuries on the defensive side, Barmore, Duggar, Yuki, and Wise were limited participants, but all will be expected to play. Let's quickly go over to the line history here in this one. I can't wait to hear what you have to say. I'm surprised. I felt like this was going to move, and it did move. When the injury announcement for Jonathan Taylor being out, this moved to 6. And then people started hammering the Colts. And this moved to 4.5 about 2 hours after the 6 hit the board, which is gave me some more confidence of the situation. From a total standpoint, I'm very nervous. It's gone from 39.5 to 40.5 with those moves on the low totals. You've been watching them cash. And cash-wise right now for this one, we have 63,892 tickets in. 40% of the tickets, 60% of the cash on Ellinger and the Colts. 70% of the tickets, 93% of the cash on the under, but they've added a point to it, which makes me very nervous. Take it away here for us, Ragu, Colts, Patriots.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving pieces in this one, obviously, with the injuries, the personnel changes with the Colts, letting go of the offensive coordinator, and then Reich's going to be calling the plays. And to be fair to New England, too, they've got some issues. So both teams have got a lot of issues. More moving pieces on the Colts side, to get that offense going. And, a lot of injuries, present ththemselves. It's going to be an offensively challenged game, possibly for both teams here. But I almost have to lean with the defensive side on New England. What does he have to do, Belichick? We know what he does. He takes away the best weapon of the opposing team. And I had Taylor as the best weapon, but guess what? He's not playing right now. Ellinger, is going to step in and do his job. And then, like you said, with Moss and some of the other players coming on board, how efficient are they going to be right off the bat? And I know there's been a lot of pushback on the number. You've seen it, like you said, 6, pushed back to 5. Even before that, when it opened up, they got a little surge for New England. Then when it got to like 5.5, it got pushed back down to 4.5, then about 5.5. So there's a lot of back and forth. But I think, some of the sharper money definitely is on the Colts side. But one thing I know for a fact is that New England, if you throw out that Monday night debacle against the Bears, they've been scoring points, even though we don't see it as a prolific offense. They're scoring in the high 20s and 30s. If you go back 5-6 games, with the exception of that Bears Monday nighter, which they like a deer in the headlights. But I think they're going to present some offensive challenges, more so on the Colts side of the ball, which I know Belly will probably come up with some type of scheme here to kind of bend don't break type of defense, and they'll develop some playmaking possibly for Jones. If he plays his game manager type, he can have a 200+ yard game and put 150 yards on the ground. So I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. I really do, but I do like New England to get some points here. So I'm on New England over 23 points, team total over. And I'm going to ride with Belichick to kind of, increase some margin here, even though, it doesn't have the optics. I think New England still covers the number at the 4.5, though. I'm going to jump back in. I kind of waited, but now that it's kind of tipped the other way. I know it's a lot of sharp money, but I'm going to go contrarian here and take New England minus 4.5 and team total over 23.
All right. Well, let's lock you in. It's a great breakdown. I know a lot of the cappers salivating over the situation that you're sitting in right now, seeing what's going on in the background. I love that you're coming to us live from New Orleans. So cool. Let's go. I'm going to go right to Pinnacle to get the best team total for you. And let's see what we can get you from the spread. Is it 4.5 there at the book you're in?
Yeah, it's 4.5 is what I have right now.
Because let's see what this 4.5 would cost over at Pinnacle. Move this over here, and we can get you the 4.5 Wow, yeah, minus 103. You can get a 4 at minus 112.
Yeah, let's do the 4.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I was hoping home some more Colt money will come in. I was going to try to get it at 4 before kick, but like I say, a lot of pushback. All the momentum's coming in on the Colts right now, so I'm going to probably wait a little bit before I actually place my bet on that one.
Wow.
But the team total, I've already bet that one. That's an official play right now.
And the team total, we can get you 22.5 over 22.5 at minus 112. So
all right, that'll work. Let's book it.
Team total over 22.5 at minus 112. Well, the market has given me a little more confidence, and you have not. So we'll deal with that. You know, your breakdown last week on the Cowboys, I banked 181.82 off of that immediately. So I am nervous and always all ears, as we all are when you break down action. Next spot on the board for Ragu is another spot that I'm on. The question is, will I have more or less confidence here? I'm on the Raiders minus 1. We're talking Raiders, Jacksonville Jaguars, TIAA Bankfield, Jacksonville, Florida. Ragu got to watch these Jags in person. I think it was 2 weeks ago now. 2 weeks ago. Darren Waller with the hamstring injury. He's missed the last 2 games. He was a limited participant all week in practice. He's questionable. Devontae Adams is healthy again. This team did not go home after that 24-0 embarrassment. They sat with each other and sat as losers all week, and I love banking on a team that is angry and down and out and knows they have to be better this week. And this is not a fade of Jacksonville, and Jacksonville is a very healthy squad right now. For me, this is a bet on the Raiders after being shut out 24-0. Let me quickly give you the line history here. Ooh, look at this. It's moved to 2.5. Oh, yes. Opened up at minus 1. I got in at minus 1. Was a minus 1.5. It was a minus 1, I guess. No, it's been 1.5 for a while. Moved to 2.5. I love seeing that. From a total standpoint, this opened up at 47. It's now at 47.5. And from a cash flow standpoint, we have 61,370 tickets in, 59% of the tickets, 76% of cash on the Raiders, and 56% of tickets, 74% of the cash on the over. The autumn wind is the pirate. Please back it up, Ragu. What's your move?
Yeah, well, I don't have anything negative to say about your look on the Raiders. I mean, there's a lot of I wouldn't say negativity, but there's a lot of recency stuff that's going on with them that they need a game. I mean, they need a game to jump up and kind of get these guys back on track. Both of these teams do. Both of these teams are looking for wins. You know, Jacksonville, I think they've lost, 6 in a row, whatever the number is. And the Raiders, they've lost quite a few, back-to-back games. So they're looking to get it. They're getting to get off the schneid, both of these teams. And usually I love bet your angle, when a team gets walloped like that. And, like they did stay on the East Coast to kind of, have a Jesus meeting, if you will, to put things back together. I mean, they're talented. There's been a lot of spotty play on the offense with them. And the defense is not really, really bad. But I can tell you this, the Jacksonville, and I watched them up close and personal, their offense and defensive line play with these young kids is spectacular. I mean, I think they can go with anybody in the league, but the problem is they're young and they do make mistakes. Lawrence, he's lost 4 fumbles. He's thrown like 6 or 7 picks. But one thing that Jacksonville does very well is they come out of the gate pretty hot. And, I mean, we lost that bet a couple weeks ago in the first half, but they've been money in the first quarter, first half outside that Giant game, 6 games going. So I'm going to come back to that. Look, it's been working for me. And, and they do give it up in the second half. So, we both can win on this spot. So there's nothing to really get nervous about. My look is the Jags in the first half. And I don't have an argument. I would support your play 100% because that's just the way the Jags fold up their tent in the second half. So I'm going to be on them in the first half. You think I'd be on it with the Raiders, but, I got to stick with what's working for me in the first half play. So I'm going to stay with the Jags first half at a plus money line price, whatever you get me.
Let's shop for you right now. Jaguars first half. The best we can get you is a plus 117 at Pinnacle. Ragu Jags first half at plus 117. And as always, Ragu's average line is plus here on the show. and he's on the Jags first half plus 117. We move on, Ragu, 4:05 p.m. Eastern. We have the Seattle Seahawks. So you got 2 looks in the morning, you got 2 looks in the afternoon. Seahawks, Cardinals. The Seahawks will be without Marquise Goodwin, which will hurt them. They will be without, now that DK and we expect their Lockett and DK to be healthier than they were last week, so maybe it won't hurt them that much. But he is a speedster. Darrell Taylor, their linebacker, is out. Penny Hart, wide receiver, hamstring, and Joey Blount, quad, out. The bigger problem here is the Cardinals. Max Garcia, shoulder, Rodney Hudson, knee, and cornerback Christian Matthew, hamstring, all out. Buda Baker, DJ Humphreys, Jonathan Ledbetter, James Conner, and Dennis Gardeck, all questionable. Let's quickly move over to the line history here. And we have these Cardinals. There was a big move towards the Seahawks earlier, and it's still there. The Cardinals opened at -3. They're now -1.5. And this total opened up at 50. It's now 49.5. And from a cash flow standpoint, we have 73,324 tickets in, 75% of the tickets, 89% of the cash on Seattle, 47% tickets, 60% cash on the under. Take it away, Ragu. Cards, Hawks.
You got a resurgent Seahawks team, which I think the way Geno Smith is playing right now, he should get comeback player of the year if they ended the season today, and Pete Carroll coach of the year without question. But a lot of nice things have happened, surprisingly good for Seattle. They're sitting at the top of the West, 1 game ahead of your 49ers. And at the bottom of the barrel is these Arizona Cardinals who had, they've had some struggles. Immensely, a lot of it's doing, on the offensive side. And, they did get Hopkins back, which is going to help them. They still have issues on the offensive line. They still have some defensive issues. And, they're giving up 1.5. And like you said, there's been pushback coming in on Seattle. And I'm going to agree with the market on this one todally. Until Seattle can show me that they're going to take a little step back, and maybe the injury will play in today's game, but I don't think it will, because I think there's enough still enough pieces in place for Seattle to kind of go in there and compete. And the line tells you that, and the market's telling you that. So I like what Seattle's doing right now. I mean, if they take this W today, then they take another game up, depending on what happens with the Rams and the 49ers today. And they've owned Arizona in Arizona. So they've played well in this series. History has it on their side too. So I like the Seahawks here. I'm going to be on the Seahawks plus the points in this particular spot. And then at the end of the day, I'm going to give you a little tease play that ties into Seattle also. So I like the Hawks here.
Seahawks plus 2 at -110. There are a couple books that are hanging the 2, and that is Bet Chris and Bookmaker hanging the 2. You are locked in. Your final spot on the card is those aforementioned Rams, 3-4, 1-1 on the road at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 85 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 8 miles per hour. Brian Allen and Van Jefferson are questionable, but Cooper Kupp is not on the injury report, which is good. He was dealing with the ankle injury. Also, it turns out that Cam Akers may play this week. They've been talking, trying to bring him back into the fold. Yeah. For the Buccaneers, still a ton of injuries. Brait was a limited participant all week, but he's not healthy enough to go. Winfield working his way back from his concussion. He's not going to play. Now, Hicks was a full participant in practice Wednesday and Thursday. He sat out Friday, but I think he's good. And then Davis and Murphy Bunting are both expected to be back. They were full participants in practice on Friday. I came so close to betting the Bucs, but I know there's some cappers on this show that I respect very much that have this game on their card. And I was like, you know what? Let's just wait and hear what they have to say. The Bucs open up -3 plus 101. They're now -3 plus 103 over at Pinnacle. This total opened up at 42.5. It's now 43. And from a cash flow standpoint, the Sharps have been on the Bucs all week. 60% of the tickets, 88% of the cash, 44% of the tickets, 91% cash on the under. Take it away. The floor is yours, Ragu. Rams, Bucs.
What a difference a year makes for both of these guys. This was the championship game, and both these teams are struggling offensively pretty bad. There's all kinds of nonsensical talk about McVay, retiring, all that bullshit. So that's all nonsense. Listen, every team hits rough patches. They all do it. It's whether it's injury, whether it's everybody kind of not being on the same page for short term. It's a competitive league. It's week to week, and now you got two elite teams that are kind of like, they're reeling, and their numbers are pretty identical, offensively, defensively. So I think the line is pretty good where it's sitting, because this game definitely does have like the a field goal type, under type game. I was thinking about getting involved in the first half on the under, which I've always backed Tampa at home on a first half unders, but it's kind of low. We're sitting about 20 points here, and I'd feel more comfortable if it was like 23, 24 points. But I'm going to pass on the under. But I do like Tom Brady lost for the first time in his career 3 games in a row. Now, whether his off-field issues are playing into the locker room, which I'm sure there's a lot of that going on. So I don't know when this team's going to get on the same page, or if they'll ever get on the same page the rest of the way out. But I know the Rams are going to definitely try to right their ship. And Tampa has been pretty solid at home last year. This year they're like 1-3 at home. So they've struggled at home. The Rams have had some struggles. Their splits are pretty equal. But I think what's going to happen, you're going to see a slower pace game to start off, and I think the game kind of opens up in the second half. So, but I still think Tampa is still capable of coming away with a first half win. I think Tom, maybe he rallies the troops a little bit, even with the injuries. The Rams defense, they're getting a little bit healthier, but I still think that the Bucs will get the first half W in Tampa, and then I'll pray for you guys, whoever backs the Bucs in the second half, because I think it might be trouble. But I'm thinking Tom Brady's going to have the troops ready to fire early in the first half, and we're going to see a lower scoring game, and then I might be interested in the second half over live in that spot there. So I'm on the Bucs first half. Whatever you can get me, -1, -1.5, I'll take it.
I will fire it up. We have you frozen on the screen, but we can hear you perfectly. I'm just going to do a quick, pull you out quickly and get you back in, and you are back in business. Perfect. Okay. So let's lock you in. We're going to get the Patriots first half here for you. Ragu first half Patriots. And we have, let me get this. We have a -1.5, -1.5 at -110. How's that sound?
The Bucs, right? First half Bucs -1.5. Yeah.
Yep. All right,
that sounds good.
Bucs first half -1.5 at -110. Ragu, thank you so much for taking. Oh, you have. Sorry, you have.
Hey, it wouldn't be a Sunday play if I didn't give you a teaser today, right? So shout out to our guy Birdie. This is for him, because I'm taking the 2 birds. There's a lot of birds in the NFL, but I'm going to take the Dirty Birds in Atlanta, and I'm going to take the Hawks on the West Coast in a 2-team teaser, 6-point. Sweetheart tease +120. So what are we getting? 8? We're going to get 8 with Seattle, right? +2.
Yep.
So we're going to get 8 with Seattle, and then whatever you get me on the Atlanta Hawks, I think it should be close to 10, 10.5, whatever that number is.
Let's go. So you have the 8 on Seattle, and with the Falcons, we are getting you +2.5. So it's 8 and 8.5.
Oh, 8 and 8.5. Okay. All right. Very good. So I feel good with those numbers. I love that.
+8.5 on the Falcons, +8 on the Seahawks. That's at +120. And if one of those picks pushes, it's a loss overall.
It's a loser, correct.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ragu, for taking the time with us when you're with your crew down at the Orleans.
You guys are my crew.
We love you, man. We love you so much. Patriots -4 at -112. Team total over 22.5 at -112. Then the Jags first half at +117. Seahawks +2 at -110. And the Bucs first half -1.5 at -110. And the Sweetheart teaser Falcons +8.5 and Seahawks +8 at +120. I love it, Ragu. Have a great time in Vegas. Right. I wish we were all there with you, my man. But
soon enough, my brother. Soon enough.
Enjoy it and get that cash. There he is, the big Ragu, signing off from the Orleans in Las Vegas. Let's move on to our next guest. He made his debut here last week, and he went 6-2 plus 3.88 units. And we said, you must come back immediately if you're going to hand out winners like that. Here he is, coming to us from the 6 in Toronto. Spenny, Penny Bombs in the house. Spenny, how are you?
How we doing, Jimmy? How we doing?
We are doing well. You were very hot last week. We've brought you back immediately. You have, in 1 week, you've moved into third place out of 19 cappers with your 6-2 plus 3.88 unit performance. My guy Stimmy OG, there's Son Dizzle in the house, Kirk Gray, great group here. You start with the Panthers Bengals. We've already gone over the injuries and the line movement. 69 Fahrenheit, sunny, 12 miles per hour at Cincinnati. So you don't need to hear from me anymore. What we need to do is hear from you, Spenny. Take it away, Panthers Bengals.
Yeah, you brought up the tweet that I put into the chat earlier. It was 74% of the money, public money, is on Carolina 7.5. So Carolina is the heavy public dog today. I think Cincinnati. I'm with Gojit here. I'm taking Cincinnati -7. Just the way that I think that they're going to bounce back with Jamar. Carolina doesn't get a lot of pressure on quarterbacks. I think Burrow will have enough time to maneuver the ball around to Boyd and Higgins today. Mixon should be involved. Goji was saying with the rush defense at home as well. I think they'll be able to slow down Foreman, and then that will in turn slow down PJ Walker as well. So I'm jumping on Cincinnati -7 as well.
There has been a 6-cent move at Pinnacle on the Bengals since Gogster gave it out. So money is moving on the Bengals right now. There's -115s at some books. -107 is what we can get you right now. Big shout out to Arthur Mead Jr. Thank you so much for your dono. We love you. Our guy Arthur in the house. Bengals -7 and -107. You have a very angry football team on extra rest going up against a very public dog. Now, but to clarify, those are the numbers at MGM. Is that right?
Yes, MGM. Yes, those are MGM numbers. Yes,
numbers. Here, you can see the money coming back in on the Bengals as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
So now, overall, offshore, 80,260 tickets counted at Sports Insights. 59% of tickets, 63% of the cash on Carolina. So you're right, a very public dog, and we know what happens to public dogs. They don't cover, and the public loses.
I think everybody's thinking the same thing, that Carolina's or Cincinnati's offense just won't score because they don't have Jamar Chase. I was thinking the same thing, but they'll figure it out. They got too many weapons still already out there. Mixon will get involved. If they need to pass it to him more, they'll pass it to Mixon more, but they'll be able to move this ball.
Let's move on to another game that Gogster talked about. He had a correlated parlay on this one. Minnesota Vikings, Washington Commanders. I'm sitting here really confident in my bet at +3.5. So much so that I took the +3 and made it a contest pick for our Cappers contest at Pub Sports Radio. Yeah. Can't wait to hear your breakdown. Take it away. We already talked about the injuries, the line movement, the cash. What we haven't heard is your action. Vikings, Commanders.
Like Goji was saying, there's a little bit of wind that might be there today. But again, I still think that these teams are going to score. Like Goji was again saying, pointing out, Minnesota's secondary is not great. Washington is definitely successful at putting up some points as well, especially the way that Minnesota's been rolling. They're not doing too great against tight ends as well. So Minnesota already talked about having Hawkinson, heavily involved in their offense today. So I could see him having a really good day if anybody's looking towards him. But LJ put it in the chat earlier. I like McLaurin over receiving yards. I got it over at 65.5 like he did, but if it's higher, I'll take it at higher. But yeah,
over 65.5. Was that with regular juice?
Yeah, -110.
Okay, you're in. Scary Terry over 65.5.
Yeah, I think McLaurin even said as soon as Heineke became the quarterback again, he feels the energy that Heineke has to try and make plays and make that effort, and McLaurin's trying to reciprocate that effort, and you've noticed it in the last 2 games. He's gone over 73 yards, over 100 yards, scoring touchdowns now. I think McLaurin's just going to keep up what he's doing, especially against this Minnesota secondary.
I love it. Andrew G saying, love that Terry prop to no secret. Heineke loves him. Is that your only spot on Vikings Commanders?
No, I also like the over for 43.5 in this game. Both of these teams are 7-3 to the over in their last 10 with an average score of around 49. I think there's going to be some points in this game. So I'm taking the over 43.5.
Over 43.5 at -107 available right now at Pinnacle. On the board. Anything else, or do we move on?
No, that's good. That's good for that one.
We move on 1 p.m. Eastern, Green Bay Packers at Detroit Lions. We've talked about Devondre Campbell being out. We've talked about the big bets have been coming in on the Lions all week, but the market's now moved to the Packers at -4. So it is pretty tricky to figure this out. Is it saying, maybe the market's saying that Bakhtiari and Jenkins are good to go because they're very important pieces on the offensive line for the Packers? Maybe that's also saying that Lazard is good to go because he's been limited all week and he's questionable. And we already heard from the chat saying that Swift is going to be likely in the exact same situation he was last week, playing just 55% of the snaps and not being a major focal point of the offense. Take it away for us, Spenny. Packers, Lions.
That's exactly where my spot's going to. They're talking about Swift coming back, but they don't want to overuse him and potentially cause injury again. I don't think that he's going to be playing a ton of snaps today. But this Packers defense is not good against the run. They're averaging 4.9 yards per carry from running backs. And Jamal Williams is an ex-Green Bay Packer. I think Jamal Williams is going to have a nice day today. His rushing yards was over 50 and a half I got last night. So I think Jamal Williams is going to have a nice day against his old team again. Detroit's going to try and run the ball, try and control this game. Detroit's going to try and put up points. This line is very sharp. I couldn't pick a side between Packers and Detroit. I know the way Packers have been playing, they haven't been able to put up points. But if this was a team for the Packers to put up points, it would be the Lions. Their secondary is not great, but I know that the Lions are going to be able to move the ball as well. And they're definitely going to need Jamal Williams to be a big part of this offense. He's averaging right around 60 yards per game, a bit over that actually in the games that he's been in rushing in. I looked to him for a touchdown today as well. But yeah, over 50 and a half rush yards for Jamal Williams today.
Over 50 and a half rush yards, -110. I like the look and the breakdown. It makes perfect sense. Lazard has been converted in. Thank you, Slatsy.
Yeah, I figured Lazard would come back today as well, so that's going to help them as well.
Are you moving on to the next game? Is that your only look here?
Yeah, that just Jamal Williams for that one.
All right, then you have the Sunday nighter, which is great. It's great, Spenny. I don't know if you're available, but we'd love to have you jump on if you are available at some point.
Yeah, I think I should be available tonight. I'll let you know later.
That would be great. We're going to be Titans, Chiefs. You'll have LJ from H-Town, Billy, Brisbane, and myself. Sharpie's coming on with 2 minutes left in the first half to give us his halftime looks, live betting. Titans, Chiefs, and I can't wait to be hanging out with everybody. Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City, Missouri, 53 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 9 miles per hour. Still waiting on Tannehill.
Yeah.
I think
that Tannehill traveled with the team. I think Tannehill will play, but I have heard Malik Willis is trending towards playing. So it's very up in the air, I think, at the moment. But at this moment, I would say Malik might be the starter.
Yeah, when the total dropped before I could get the 46, I thought that was saying that Malik Willis was going to be starting.
Yeah.
Let's go over the situation here with line history because we haven't spoken about this one. This is the Sunday nighter. It's back at 46.5 at Pinnacle. Makes me very upset that I got the 45. I should have waited. I handled this poorly. From a side perspective, the Chiefs opened up -11.5. They're now -13. From a total perspective, it's right where it opened at 46.5. From the cash flow here, we have 51% of the tickets, 40% of the cash on the Titans, and 62% of the tickets, 15% of the cash on the over, but it's going back up. And the Titans were also on the board, weren't they, on your tweet? Why don't you touch on that at BetMGM?
Yeah, the Titans, I believe, were like 64% at MGM as a public dog at 12.5. So I understand it just the way that Tennessee has historically played in the last while against Kansas City, was having some pretty high scoring games, some pretty tight games, definitely giving them a run for their money, and beating them in the playoffs. So Tennessee has a game plan that they always come into against Kansas City. Might be a little bit tougher with Malik, and I'm just not sure how it's going to continue on for this entire game. I'm not sure they'll be able to cover the. I think it could end it in a 13-point win for Kansas City. It could be right around the 13-point, just the way that, especially if Malik is playing. But I feel like if it's going to be close at any point, it's going to be close early. So I'm taking Tennessee first quarter plus 3.5. Tennessee is actually scoring more points in the first quarter than Kansas City this year, so around just under 7 points, so about 6.4. Kansas City is around 5.9 points per game in the first quarter. So I'm hoping that that Tennessee is just going to keep it close. Could be, a 3-3 game, maybe 6-3 game in the first quarter. So I'm just hoping that Tennessee keeps it close here, +3.5.
+3.5. That's available at -107 at Pinnacle. There are some books hanging out at -115 and -120. But
yeah, 107 if you can get it. Yeah,
-107. Spenny penny bombs with 4 bets for us today, and he is coming off of a 6-2 3.88 unit.
5 bets.
Oh yeah, sorry, 5. Yes, of course. You got the Bengals there as well. So we have the Bengals -7 at -107. McLaurin over 65.5. Receiving yards at -110, over 43.5 in Minnesota, Washington at -107. Jamal Williams over 50.5 rush yards, and the Titans first quarter +3.5 at -107. Spenny, I love it. And you're so active on Twitter. Let's get a bunch of followers for Spenny. I'm going to put his Twitter into the chat so we can get more people following, because he's just a completely selfless capper who only wants us all to succeed. And that's
I'll put everything that I put out here. I'll put it on Twitter, and I'll probably add a couple of other things. I always like throwing in a little, touchdown parlay, or some plus money big plays that and try and throw a couple bucks on and try and catch. So if you're definitely looking for touchdown players today, just as like a side thing, I like Jamal Williams, D Hop, Leonard Fournette, and who else was I looking at? And McLaurin as well.
Oh, I love it. I love it, Spenny. Thank you for taking the time to roll with us and have a very profitable Sunday. Hopefully we get to catch you this evening for...
Yeah, I'll give you a shout later.
I love it. There he is, Spenny Penny Bombs. His Twitter handle is in the chat. Please hit it and follow him. We'll move on to your next guest. He made his debut in week 7, and we have seen him cap for a long time. He's a very, very good capper, and we want him back as soon as possible. Back in action for us week 9, coming to us from Kingston, Ontario. Please welcome Birdie to the show. Birdie, how are you, my man?
Very well. How are you? Good to be back. I guess there's some pressure to win this week so I can come back next week.
There is pressure.
Let's do it.
There is pressure to win. Now, we've watched you cap for a long time. So you opened up your account 2-4 down 2.22 units, but we know that you win long-term, and we're excited to see you rock right now here in week 9. Chargers, Falcons is where you open up your week account, and it's Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, and we did hear a little bit from for the teaser on the Falcons, but we haven't really broken this down. The big story in this game is that Keenan Allen is not going to be available. Either is their kicker, Dustin Hopkins. So they have Dicker, the kicker. Cameron Dicker will be handling the kicking duties. So you have DeAndre Carter questionable to play. You're down Allen and Williams. So Josh Palmer is your number 1 WR here, and that's not going to be easy. The Falcons are not getting AJ Terrell back. That's not happening. He's still working through that hamstring injury, so he will not be back. Let's touch on the line history here, because it was a strange situation where, with the Chargers coming in off the bye, there was a belief that Keenan Allen would be good to go, and that's not the case. So there was a lot of early sharp money on the Chargers, but that's all gone away. Pinnacle even moved it to 2.5 at 11:19 this morning. So opened up at 3, now at 2.5. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 49. It's now at 49.5. And from a cash flow look, we have 85,013 tickets in. 45% of the tickets, 58% of the cash is on the Chargers. That number was up to 75% of the cash was on the Chargers. So we just see a bunch of money flooding back in on the Falcons. It's 50-50 on the total, but 98% of the cash is on the over. I find that very tricky and hard to believe. They've only moved it up a half point, but it did get up to 50, and it's come back to 49.5. So confusing information there from the cash flow. Take it away for us, Birdie. Your first game on the card, Chargers Falcons.
Yeah, I'm all over the Falcons here. Unfortunately for the Chargers, their strength on offense is their passing game. at least the perceived strength. I had some question marks coming in with Williams and Allen. I just don't see them getting separation. So I was down on it anyway, but we still have a big public perception out there that this Chargers offense is good. They still have a few good pieces. Unfortunately for them, their defense sucks against the run. And they're facing probably the best schemed running team in the NFL. Arthur Smith does a great job in this RPO offense. And now you're getting Patterson back, which is going to open up the play action, which again, the Falcons are one of the best teams in the NFL on play action. It just, unfortunately for the Chargers, this is a bad spot for them. I did look back to see how Staley did off the bye last year. He didn't cover. So, I mean, it's a one-game sample size. It's not really factoring in. But the reality of it is he didn't have his team prepared to play last year off the bye. I don't see it happening again. I think that's a deflated team with a lot of injuries. And I like the Falcons plus the points. I like the Falcons money line. And what we're also going to attack here is because Patterson's back and that play action is so effective. I mean, Atlanta doesn't throw the ball all that much, but when they do, it's really effective. I'm going over Drake London, 38.5 passing yards. His production kind of fell when Patterson left because it was much harder to sell out that play action because teams were able to stack the box. Or pardon me, opposite. They were able to cover the receivers, and his production fell. But with Patterson back, I think London has a big day here. I also like Jared Everett over 50.5 passing yards. Herbert just has no one else to throw the ball to. I mean, Eckler can't touch the ball 60 times, unfortunately. And I think he's going to have to be a big piece of this offense. And that 50.5, I think that's a fair number. And I'm also going to take Everett anytime touchdown at plus 175. Because as I say, other than Eckler, there really isn't a whole lot of offensive help there for Herbert today. And I really like the Falcons here. And I think they're 6-1 against the spread. They can take a 2-game lead because I believe the Rams are going to beat the Bucs today. We'll get into that later. They're doing, and I can also hit my over 4.5 win season prop. That was the first bet I made this year, and hopefully we catch that today.
Oh, I like it. I like it. The Falcons, they've hurt us so badly in years past, Birdie, but they've been very good to you this year. Falcons plus 2.5 minus 103. Falcons money line plus 125. London over 38.5 receiving yards. Everett over 50.5 receiving yards, and anytime touchdown at plus 175. That all work?
You got it.
All right.
Let's go.
We got to speed it up here. Next
up,
Carolina Panthers, Cincinnati Bengals. We've talked about the injuries. We've talked about the market moves. I don't need to do anything. All we want to hear is your action. Panthers, Bengals, take it away.
Under 42.5. Coming off that big game last week, the Cardinals, everyone's seeing all those points. Bengals have a perceived good offense anyway in the market, even with Chase out. That number really hasn't moved a whole ton, and I'm happy taking the under here.
Do you want the 43 at minus 114
sure.
or the Yeah,
I'll take the 43.
Okay, under 43 at minus 114. Love it. There's Dave Burke in the house. Great to see you, Berkey. Is that your only look in Panthers Bengals?
It is.
Yep. All right, we move on to the Packers Lions at Ford Field in Detroit, Michigan. We talked about Devondre Campbell being out, and we're not expecting more snaps for Swift. It looks like he's going to play a similar amount as he did last week, which was just 55% of the snaps in his first game back since the week 3 injury. Take it away for us, Birdie. Packers, Lions.
Okay, I'll go quick here. This is just an absolutely horrible spot for the Green Bay Packers. Gobes touched on a little bit. This is actually their 4th game out of their last 5 on the road because everybody's going to look at that schedule and see that home game against the Giants. Yes, it was a home game, but it was in England. So there's just been so much travel for this team. The biggest equalizer in the National Football League is travel. And this is just a horrible, horrible stretch versus an opponent that's easily looked by. Even though they can't, they will because it's Aaron Rodgers and he doesn't lack for confidence. I just love this spot for the Lions today. Plus, they got Dallas on deck at home next week. They're not going to be, in a game they should be worried about the Lions. They're not going to be worried about the Lions. So we're going to go with the Lions first half at plus 2.5. When we're going to go Lions full game at plus 3.5.
All right, let's lock you in here for the Lions. Oh, it's all fours now across the board. Remember, there's
Perfect.
been a
I'll
big
take the
move.
4. They want to give me it, I'll take it.
Okay, so you're going to get the Lions +4 at -102. That's the best line. That's over at Pinnacle. And for a first half look, Birdie, we're going to give you the +2 in that. Okay, there's threes now on the board. You can get it.
Yeah, I'll take the 3. I'll take whatever points they want to give me.
Not expensive either. -113 over at Heritage. I'm just going to very quickly see if I can beat that here at Pinnacle on the first half. The +3s -111. Look at that. Look at that. So Packers money coming in fast and furious, it seems.
Public's always going to bet the Packers versus the Lions. And the funny part is based off last week's game against the Bills, if I've seen it once, I've seen it 1,000 times. People in the media saying that the Green Bay Packers showed some heart, losing by 10 points, and they were down 17 and scored a late touchdown to backdoor cover. Come on. The Packers are in trouble. We're betting names here. That's entirely what this is, and that's what public betting does. That's what the public does. They bet names.
First half +3 -111. Full game +4 at -102. A big shout out to the Nut Flush Allen family. He's in with his dad in the ICU. His dad had some really big surgery done recently, and Nut Flush is there right now. We're thinking of you. Nut Flush, we love with so much love for you and your fam. So if everyone could just send as much positive energy, some prayers, or whatever it is you do to send some light and love and healing energy over to Nut Flush's dad. God,
Karen and I send our love, Mike.
That's wonderful to hear, Birdie. And he's just, Nut Flush is such a great guy, and that family is just so special. So thinking about you guys, Nut Flush. We move on to the next game. Buffalo Bills, New York Jets, MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. 73 Fahrenheit, chance of showers, 7 miles per hour. You have pretty healthy football teams right now. The Bills have Jordan Poyer out. Obviously, they'd like him to be in the lineup. And Matt Milano with the oblique is questionable. So is their tackle, Spencer Brown. But, they're pretty healthy. And the Jets are as well. They have Corey Davis out. We didn't expect Corey Davis to come back. James Robinson was a late addition to the injury report with a knee injury. We haven't spoken about this game yet. So let's talk about the line history here. We have this opening up for the Bills at -13. It's down to -11. That -11 is a +104. So you could say it really is 11.5. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 47 and has dropped to 46. I got in on the under 47. That's one move that I feel pretty good about. And we have 98,216 tickets in. 35% of the tickets, 44% of the cash is on the Jets. The Jets had the sharp action, and we saw the market move, the big bets coming in on them. So it's the public that's coming in today, betting the Bills and changing the numbers a bit. From the total side of things, you have 44% of tickets and 96% of cash on the under. I would be much more nervous if it didn't drop a point. I'd prefer it drop another half point just to make me a little more confident. Take it away for us, Birdie. Bills, Jets.
Sure. We're talking about 2 top 6 defenses here. I'm on the under as well. I did get it at 47. I bet that early like you did. I'll still take the 46. I just think this is going to be a defensive game early. I don't know how this game's going to end. I can't bet a spread here. The other thing I like is I went back and looked at Buffalo's last 7 divisional games, not including the playoff game against the Pats. They're 5-7 to the under. They play these divisional games. They usually blow them out, actually. But the reality of it is the game's staying under the total. So the other bet I'm going to make in this game is under 9.5 in the first quarter. I just think that the Jets are going to be up for this. I mean, you can look at the way their game played last week, and you could make a very good case that they were looking ahead to this week. I think they've had this game circled on their calendar. I see a tight early game. Now, I don't know if the Bills pull ahead as the game goes on, because I do think this Jets running game, not having it, is really going to hurt them in this game. But I do like a lower scoring game, and they're my 2 plays.
You are locked in there. We need to speed it up a little bit. So let's hear your look on Vikings Commanders. We've already talked about the injuries and the line movement. Take it away, FedEx Field, Landover.
I'm going to be on Washington here at the 3.5 if it's available. If not, I'll take the 3. I'll be on the Washington money line, and I'll be taking Dalvin Cook under 74.5. Washington, what they're really good at on defense is stopping the run. I just don't think this sets up very well for I don't want to use the word fraudulent because I really do like this head coach in Minnesota. No one's been more critical on Minnesota than me. But I just think this is a bad spot. And Kirk Cousins, as the time of the game increases, he just gets worse and worse. And as the pressure increases, he gets worse. He can't win in prime time. He's been told all week this is a revenge spot for him. I just don't like backing Kirk Cousins in this spot.
I love it. We can get you a plus 155 money line over at 5 dimes. Then
Perfect.
we can get you let's see, you're going to be able to get that 3.5, and it shouldn't be too expensive here. Let's just give you the exact number here.
Actually, I'm okay with the 3, Jimmy, because I do like the money line here. I don't think I'm going to need the hook, and if it bites me, it bites me. But I'm okay if a push happens. I'm confident that Washington's winning this game outright.
Well, the plus 3 we get you at plus 106, so at least you get some plus.
Well, okay.
Perfect.
Well, that's not
plus 3 at plus 106, plus 155, and Dalvin Cook under 74.5 rush yards. Next spot for you is the Seahawks Cardinals. We already heard from Ragu on this spot when he came to us live from the Orleans in Vegas. What is your bet here?
Okay, so this one's pretty interesting. I think this is my most fun game betting for the week. I'm taking Seattle first half at the plus 5. I'm taking under first half 24, and then I'm taking the full game Cardinals money line.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you're taking Seattle first half plus a half.
Yep.
Let me just grab this quickly, and then I want to just make sure I have everything right here before you explain why it is plus a half. I bet you I can get a really good line at Pinnacle, so I'm going to just do that while you're talking. And
Sure.
Then you're taking, what was the next spot?
Cardinals are that first half under 24.
First half under, okay.
And then Cardinals full game money line.
Okay, take it away. I'll do that.
Okay, so basically this game sets up perfect because it is 2 games in one. If you look at the way the season's playing out, the Cardinals just struggle in the first half. They've have all season. I think they've showed up in one first half this year. Their game 2 weeks ago, I think there was 28 total points scored or 38 total points scored. Seattle's defense has really improved in the last 3 games, and I like a lower scoring first half. Cardinals have proven not really once to me this season that they should be bet on in the first half. Seattle is always prepared to play. Pete Carroll's doing a great job with that young defense, especially the secondary. So I like the Cardinals in the first half. Second half is a different story. Cardinals show up. They're a really good second half team. Also, what's happening here is Seattle and the Bucs are going to England next weekend. I bet against the teams going to England the following week, and I believe it's 5-1 against the spread. I think the Cardinals pull this one out late. I believe they're going to score today. They're getting better with Hopkins back. The offense is starting to progress a little bit, but until they can prove to me they can score points in the first half, I'm happy with this setup, and I think this is the best setup of the week.
You are in business. What a wildly interesting way of hammering this. First half for the Seahawks at plus a half. You have the first half under 24 at minus 106 and the Cardinals minus 125. And then just to go over this, what Ragu did, Ragu is also he's on the Seahawks full game at plus 2. Okay, I thought he'd moved on the first half. Thought he'd moved on the first half. He didn't, just full game. Okay, take it away for us. The last game on your card is Rams Buccaneers. We've already discussed the injury situation and the line movement. We've only heard Bucs so far. We haven't heard your angle. Take it away for us, Birdie.
Yeah, I'm on the Rams here. So I watch a lot. I listen a lot. And you talk about a public and sharp play this week is going to be the Bucs. And that line, other than some juice, really hasn't moved all that much. For the amount of money that's on Tampa Bay. Again, it's Tom Brady with the expectation that because his divorce is final, he's suddenly going to be able to have touch on his passes. If you watched that game last week, short passes, he's struggling, especially in the red zone. He airmailed a TD to Evans that he would never have missed in his career. He's making bad decisions because his offensive line is so porous. He's getting so much pressure. He's making bad decisions with the football, missing open receivers, and then the receivers are dropping the ball. Subsequently, the Rams, why can't they improve? Like they're healthy per se, right? This is a team that's coming to play a team in Tampa Bay that they've had a ton of success with. I think they've won their last 6. And there's no reason why the Rams can't make a step forward. Yes, their offensive line is a little bit shaky. I get it. But they're playing a team against a name that they're going to be up for. And I think Aaron Donald's going to eat. And some folks have touched on it. Akers is playing today. I'm gonna take this game with the Rams +3, the Rams money line, and I'm taking Akers anytime touchdown at +220.
Okay, I'm going to lock all of this in for you. So you're getting the Rams +3 at -112. I thought I saw +136. Let me just go back to that here quickly. Rams, yes, +136 on the money line.
And Akers anytime touchdown.
And that Akers anytime touchdown was +220?
Yep, Bet365. And I'm just going to throw this out there because I love parlays, and I know the audience does too. So I'm going to do a parlay as well with the Commanders +3.5, the Rams +3, and the Bengals money line. I don't know what that plays out. I didn't.
Do you want this official for the show?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
yep,
Commanders
because I think it's going to hit.
Commanders +3.5. What was the next one?
Commanders 3.5, Rams +3, and Bengals money line.
And Bengals money line. I will do that. We need to keep rolling here, but I'm going to do them. Get those numbers, and I'll give it out to the everybody watching, so they'll know exactly what that pays out for. Birdie, spectacular job. Follow Birdie on Twitter at Birdie_bets. Another very selfless capper who's just looking for us to succeed in this very difficult business. Birdie's on the Falcons +2.5 -103, money line +125, London over 38.5 receiving yards, Everett over 50.5 receiving yards, and anytime touchdown at +175. Then he's on the Panthers Bengals under 43 at -114. He's on the Lions first half +3 at -111, full game +4 at -102. He's on the under 46 at -108 in Buffalo New York Jets in the first quarter under 9.5 at -108. He's on the Commanders +3 at +106 and the money line at +155. Dalvin Cook under 74.5 rush yards there. Seahawks first half +0.5 -110. First half under 24 at -106, and the Cardinals at -125 for the full game look. Rams +3 at -112, plus 136 on the money line, and Akers anytime touchdown at +220. And I will work out that parlay for you. Birdie, spectacular work, my man. Go out there and get that cash. And thank you for sharing your hard work and insights with us, my man. It was great to have you on.
Thank you, Mike. Thinking of you, brother.
I love it. There he is, Birdie. We go next to our number one performer here on NFL Pub Hub. He was very good last year, and the big Ragu got past him late in the season to be our champion. But here he's alone in first place, 12 wins and 3 losses plus 10.21 units. He's double-digit units up on this show after 4 appearances. He's been nothing short of spectacular. Week 2, he went 3-0 plus 3.5 units. Week 4, he went 3-1 plus 2.46 units. Week 7, he went 3-1 plus 1.95 units. And week 8, he went 3-1 plus 2.3 units. And I have the pleasure of hanging out with him all night for our big Chiefs Titans live bet stream here on Pub Sports Radio. Please welcome from South Jersey, Billy Brisbane in the house. Brizzy, how are you, my man?
Doing good, man. Got to quickly get through these props so everybody can get them in before 1 o'clock.
Let's get right to work. You start Vikings, Commanders. And first, though, thank you for what you've done here on the show. It adds so much to the show when we have a capper like you being so spectacular. So thank you from all of us. Vikings, Commanders, what are your looks here?
I like Terry McLaurin over 4.5 receptions. The chemistry with him and Heineke definitely been there since his return. McLaurin leading the team with the 25.8% target share, averaging 8 targets and 93 receiving yards per game this week versus the Viking secondary, who's been trending down. They have allowed 335 passing yards per game to opposing wide receivers across their last 3 contests. So I think McLaurin gets the good time rolling again, and goes over that 4.5 receptions at -140.
-140 for the over 4.5 receptions. Mad Stoney giving us, thank you, Mad Stoney. It's a lot of movement, a lot of work here, but thank you, Mad Stoney. What a guy doing it for us, giving us the Birdies parlay. Could you see what it is, though, Mad Stoney, with Washington plus 3.5? if you could get an alternate line there as well, Matt Stoney. But thank you for doing that for us. That means a ton. McLaren over 4.5 receptions. Do you have any other looks in Vikings Commanders?
No, sir.
We move on to Bills Jets at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. I'm looking forward to hear your plan of attack here in this big game for the Jets, trying to turn around after a great start, 5-3.
Yeah, haven't really played a lot of QB Russian props this year, but this is going to be the first one of the year for me. Josh Allen over 39.5 rushing yards at -110. Low number here, solid spot here for the Bills. He's gone over this number 5 out of 7 games and 4 out of 8 career games versus the Jets. I think it's a good spot for him to get the ball rolling on the ground in a spotty Bills rushing game.
You're right. It is spotty. And the 39.5 rush yards, what is the juice associated with that?
-110.
-110, over 39.5 rush yards at -110. Do we move on to Chargers Falcons, or do you have another look here in Bills Jets?
Chargers Falcons, baby.
Chargers Falcons, Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. I have a guess as to what you're doing here, and I want to see if it plays out. So I won't mention anything, but we have a ton of injuries in the Chargers wide receiving core. Take it away for us. We already heard some birdie props on this. Let's see if we have any correlate or any action where they're both on, because we know how successful that's been when we see two of our cappers on the same prop. It's been huge ROI. Take it away for us, Brizzy. Chargers Falcons.
Yeah, I'm with Birdie. This is my biggest bet of the day. Gerald Everett over 50.5 receiving yards. Coming out the bye, Chargers banged up without Mike Allen and Keenan Allen. Parfan and Palmer both coming off concussions. The Falcons are allowing the third most yards to the tight end position and give up the most targets to the tight end position at 9.4 per game. So Gerald Everett's going to go up and over that 50.5 receiving yards, and it's my favorite bet of the day.
Favorite bet of the day from Brizzy. Jared Everett over 50.5 receiving yards. I was right about that. Over 50.5 receiving yards. What was the juice?
I got -128 at FanDuel Sportsbook.
-128. I have a question. Did you have any interest in Josh Palmer?
Not. Yeah. I mean, on paper, yes, but I think it could be a game where he gets funneled through the middle with like Gerald Everett and DeAndre Carter.
And Spenny Pennybomb saying he loves it that the Falcons suck against tight ends. Millsy saying Billy better speak nice about his Falcons. You have spoken nice about the Falcons. Anything adding to that, or is there one spot in each game for you?
One spot each game, 3 bets. Trying to cash all 3, and we'll keep the good times rolling.
Good times rolling. 12-3 plus 10.21 units on this show. You have blown past Bobano into first place, and I get to spend the night with you tonight in Chiefs Titans, and join us. So we'll be ready to rock right at 8, and then you can hear Brizzy's looks for that game while we'll be live betting it together. I love it. Sorry. Sun Dazzle says there's a lot of tight ends in Atlanta. Brizzy, much love. Thank you for sharing your hard work with us. 12-3 plus 10.21 units. Spectacular work. Follow Brizzy on Twitter at Getting Bills. I'm going to pop his Twitter handle here into the chat so that everyone can just click and follow. I'm going to put Birdie's as well so that you can just click and jump in and follow. Got to pull this up. That's going to take me a second here. But I will be popping that in the chat. Brizzy, any last words before you go get that cash on Sunday?
Let's cash these tickets, man. This is a bad week for props and bets, but we're going to find a little bit of value where there is, and we'll roll it off to the next couple of weeks.
I love it. I'm going to pop your Twitter handle here at getting_Bills_.
Oh, yeah. Monday Night Football. Isaiah Likely. Get on the Isaiah Likely bandwagon now.
There you go. Isaiah Likely, a look ahead on Monday as well. I love it, Brizzy. Thank you for sharing your hard work. You're on McLaren over 4.5 receptions at -140. Josh Allen over 39.5 rush yards at -110. And Everett over 50.5 receiving yards at -128. Thank you for sharing your hard work with us, my man. And look forward to hanging out tonight. There he is, Billy Brisbane in the house. We go from South Jersey to Phoenix, Arizona. Please welcome your next guest star of the Die Hard MMA podcast, Mr. Clint McLean in the house. Clint, how are you, buddy?
Good morning, Jimmy. I'm ready to go, baby. How are you today?
I'm doing great, my man. I'm doing great. Let's get right to work here. Carolina Panthers, Cincinnati Bengals is where you start off your action. We've talked about this game already, so they don't need to hear anything from me. Just want to hear from you. Take it away, Clint.
Short and sweet, Jimmy. I'm on the Panthers. Since missing their top two corners, it sounds like, playing on the short week. They just played on Monday, and this team is not the same without Jamar Chase. I'm going to buy in on this Panthers team now that they kind of believe in themselves. They've got some mojo going. They're using DJ Moore once again. I think they're a good, solid team here today. And you know what, Jimmy? The thing with the Cincinnati Bengals is they just can't protect the quarterback right now. I know the Panthers defense is not a massive thing to write home about, but they've been able to get pressure. They've gotten 3 touchdowns this season themselves, and pains me because you and I did a show a couple weeks ago, and I ended up jumping on the Panthers defense and special teams to score a touchdown that day at 11-1, Jimmy. I tweeted it. I didn't say it on the Pub Hub. So it doesn't go on my Pub Hub record. I'm going back to the well today. We're going Panthers plus 7.5. I think that number has moved down to 7, which makes me sad for the show. But I will also go back to the well on the Panthers defense and special teams to score a touchdown at any point in time today at 8-1.
We have had a caveat for that rule where if you talk about the game on the show, then you can add anything you want. I feel bad. I feel like it'd be nice to see on your record 11-1, you would have vaulted right into second place just behind Brizzy. I love how you go for the big scores, but
I'll earn it, Jimmy. I'll earn it. Let's go. Panthers coming right back to me today.
Maybe we'll have to discuss. You're right, because you were on the show that day, but you didn't. You deserve it, man. You deserve it. So we'll continue this discussion. Defensive touchdown at plus 800 and plus 7 at minus 102 for Clint. Clint, next spot for you is Dolphins Bears, Soldier Field in Chicago, Illinois. 59 Fahrenheit, sunny, 16 miles per hour. Clint, take it away. Your thoughts here and how. Oh, actually, we haven't talked about this game. These are two really healthy teams. The guys who are questionable for the Dolphins are all expected in. Teron Armstead, Tanner Connor, their tight end, cornerback Eric Rowe, and outside linebacker Jalen Phillips are all going to be in. And the Bears are a very healthy football team right now. There's a few of them in the NFL, and the Vikings. I know the Vikings do have. We'll talk about Dalvin Tomlinson being out because you're going to talk about your Vikings. But the Chiefs are so healthy. The Bears are so healthy. I'm happy that you have this game on the board. I'm on the over in this game, and I'm not enormously confident. Dolphins open up at minus 4.5. They're now minus 4. From a total perspective, it opened up at 45. It's now at 46. Okay, that makes me feel a little better. And then from a cash flow standpoint, here we have 119,173 tickets in, 51% of tickets, 59% of cash on the Bears, and 31% of tickets, 75% cash on the over. Take it away for us, Clint. Dolphins, Bears.
I don't mind that overlook one bit, Jimmy, but I'm actually going to lay it here with the Miami Dolphins. And I don't personally like laying chalk on the road very often, but this seems like a sweet spot here to me with the Bears. I mean, everybody's all hyped up on the resurgence of Justin Fields. And you know what? He has looked good his last couple games. And now they're getting Chase Claypool, but is he really going to make that big of an impact his first game with a new team, with a new quarterback? I don't think so, Jimmy. I think this is giving us some value on the better team here. If we go offense for offense, Miami is going to smoke the Chicago Bears. I do think the Bears will put up some points. I think the Miami defense getting healthy can get some key stops in a few spots where they need to, and we can just count on the Bears being the Bears. They will goof one or two of these spots and punt one or two more times than the Miami Dolphins will. The Bears are 0-6 ATS facing a winning team with a record when they're at home, and they're 1-7 in their last 8 attempts as an underdog against the spread at home. So I'm going to follow those strong trends and lay it with the better team here. Miami minus 4.5.
Well, we can get you a 4. We can get you a 4 at minus 101 right now. So it looks like some late money coming in on the Bears. Minus 4 at minus 101 available at Pinnacle right now. We move on to Vikings Commanders, and I can't wait to hear your breakdown here, Clint. We have our guy, Adam Whitehead, saying, Clint, enjoy TJ Hawkinson. Can't believe we traded him. Take it away. We've discussed the injuries and the setup for this game, so we just want to hear your action. Take it away, Vikings Commanders.
Jimmy, you know I am very, very careful about when I bet on my Minnesota Vikings. I rarely come on here and give you a bet on my Vikings because I'm a diehard fan. Everybody knows this. I am biased as all get out. So knowing that, I try to sparingly give them as official picks. This is a smash spot for the Minnesota Vikings. Everybody and their mother piling in on the Washington Commanders. And this line is not moving, Jimmy. There's a reason for that. We're getting Hawkinson, one of the best tight ends you could ask for in the game. Apparently, Kirk Cousins stayed late to work out with him, did some extra, tape on him, seeing what his best moments were. And he's facing a Washington Commanders team that, Jimmy, quite frankly, flounder anytime they face a good offense. The wins that they have had this season are massively questionable for them to be a 4-4 team. I know people are talking about my Vikings being a fake 6-1, but I think these Commanders are a fake 4-4. They're really only beating the bottom feeders of the league. And then when you put them up against an offense that can put up points like Detroit, like Philadelphia, like the Cowboys, they can't hold with that kind of an offense. So I fully expect my Minnesota Vikings to get in here, get the win, get out of town. 3 points is too short. I told you earlier in the week in the chat, Jimmy, that it's Vikings by double digits. I'll take 3, baby. Let's go.
You are going to get your 3. Now, it did move from when I bet it. I mean, I got 3.5 at -110. I bet 365, which is now, +3 at -105. But you're right. I mean, we've been sitting here and there is a ton of 55% of tickets, 81% of the cash on Washington, and it's not, gone to 2. I don't think you can go off of the 2.5. I think if they pulled it off of 3, that Minnesota money would just come pouring in. But we'll get you your action here on the Vikings -3, -115, and I think you have a prop that you're adding on this game.
I do. We're going to ride with the hot hand, Jimmy. I think Hawkinson finds the end zone today. Like we've talked about before, this defense doesn't do well against high-flying offenses. Now, if you look at your fantasy stats, they're the #1 defense against tight ends. But what tight end have they really faced? Packers don't have a tight end. Chicago Bears don't have a tight end. Detroit had Hawkinson, but they didn't use him hardly at all in that game. So he's getting another opportunity here, another crack at it. But when they did face a solid tight end like Philadelphia, Goddard got in the end zone, no problem. So I'm going to roll with the Minnesota Nice. New boy on the field. They're going to show off their shiny new toy. TJ Hawkinson hits pay dirt today. Plus 235 on the anytime TD.
Anytime touchdown plus 235 for Hawkinson and the Vikings -3, -115. We're going head to head in 28 minutes. Clint, I will be messaging you throughout the game. Let's go to your next spot. You have a 6-point teaser with 2 legs here, and you start your first leg in Green Bay Packers, Detroit Lions. Why don't you take it away?
Yeah, on this one, Jimmy, it's almost just a consistent fade of the Green Bay Packers for me at this point. Aaron Rodgers is busted. He's got nobody to throw the ball to. They can't figure it out on offense. And if we know anything to Detroit Lions, they can put up points. They're getting DeAndre Swift back. I expect them to have that offense. The Packers have had some trouble against the run this year. Let's go with these Detroit Lions and giving them to me in a teaser. This is a home in conference meeting. We know these are tough, hard-fought battles. I think the Packers can pull this win off. I do not expect this to be a blowout. So if they can keep this within 10 points for me, that's all I need. I'm a little too scared to lay the 3 or the 4, but I'll go ahead and take a 10. So give me the teaser with the Detroit Lions up to 10.
Detroit Lions plus 10 is the first leg of your teaser. The second leg is in Colts Patriots in Foxborough, Massachusetts. Take it away.
This is a similar setup for me, Jimmy, here. The Colts, I know they lost JT, but Deion Jackson has been spectacular anytime he's had to fill in for JT. And honestly, JT being injured this entire season, he hasn't looked good. He hasn't put up points. A healthy backup in Deion Jackson probably is more potent for this offense at this stage of the game. So I think he's going to slot in there and he's going to do some work against this New England Patriots defense, which is not stellar against the run. And the Colts actually are the 9th ranked defense against the run. So I know the Patriots have that dual threat there at running back. Ramondre is going to be a very tough man to contain, but the Colts defense has been okay this season. It's another one where I expect it to be a ground and pound. I expect it to be low scoring. The Colts just fired their offensive coordinator. You'd think they'd want to show off, flex a little bit after a situation like that, show what they can really do in this kind of a game. I think the Colts are going to keep this game tight. And once again, I don't want to lay under a touchdown. I will throw them in this 6-point teaser. And as long as they keep it within 11, I'm a happy camper.
Colts plus 11, Lions plus 10 is your 6-point teaser. Big Maestro says, I know a family going to Lions game that are diehard Green Bay fans, but every time they go to a game in Detroit, the Packers lose. You got
the Packers, Jimmy, they haven't covered a spread in the last 5 games in Lions territory.
You are locked in, Clint. Let's review your action here. You have the Panthers plus 7 at minus 102. Panthers defensive touchdown at plus 800. You have the Dolphins minus 4 at minus 101. The Vikings minus 3 at minus 115. Hawkinson anytime touchdown at plus 235. And then you have 6-point teaser leg with the Lions plus 10 and the Colts plus 11. And we love you, Clint. It was a nice energy boost for us having you here. Thank you for sharing your hard work with us. We love it. Go out there and get that cash, and I'll be messaging you. Hopefully, if I'm silent, you're probably winning. That'll be the sign.
Jimmy, what's I got a question for you real quick before I go.
Sure.
What is the Vikings minus 9.5 alternate spread?
Ooh, all right, let's do this. This is okay. Now we're talking. The Vikings minus 9.5 on the alternate spread is they're not getting into here. Let me see. Let me try a different book. And some books, Pinnacle's afraid. Pinnacle will give you the 5.5 or plus 128. Let's see. Let me just see if I can get you here at Bet365. Grab this. Here we go. The Minnesota Vikings. Let's go to main props. Alternate point spread. Oh, here you go. Minus 9.5 plus 220.
Give it, Jimmy. Give it to me. I told you Vikings by double digits. Make it an official pick. Put it on the record. Vikings minus 9.5 plus 220.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for rolling with us. Who do you have coming on the Die Hard MMA podcast on tomorrow?
None other than one of our Pub Sports Radio affiliates here, Mr. Liam Picks Fights, a man who absolutely destroyed the UFC card last night. In fact, we were on the live stream together right here on Pub Sports Radio, and he crushed it, put money in everybody's pockets. He's coming back for UFC 282, I think it's 282. Yeah, we got a big card, Jimmy. I'm excited about this one.
I love it. Die Hard MMA podcast tomorrow night right here on Pub Sports Radio, and follow him on Twitter at Die Hard MMA Pod. We love you, Clint. Have a big, big day today, and I'll be in touch, my man.
Love you guys. Good luck, everybody.
There he is, Clint, starting Die Hard MMA podcast. We move on to your next guest, who's coming off a monster week 7. The last time he was with us, 4-1 plus 3.20 units, vaulted him up into 6th place here out of 19 cappers at NFL Pub Hub. Coming to us from Las Vegas, Nevada. Please welcome Migdam Mack Daddy, Connor Mack in the house. Connor, how are you?
I'm good, Jimmy. Ready to roll. Long weekend and a big day tomorrow. College football show and college basketball kicks off. But let's get to the NFL, baby. Big Sunday.
Let's get right to work. Yes. So tomorrow is the debut of our new college basketball show. Do you want to talk to us a little bit about it?
Yeah, it'll be on at 5 Eastern. And we're going to work out. We're usually going to do going forward. Obviously, this Monday's huge, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, and then maybe Mondays and Fridays, like I'll do a video. We're going to work that out. We might until January. Then we'll go live full time. So those small cards, like a Friday night where there's not a bunch, you'll be on your show, something like that. We might just pop a video.
Cool. That sounds great. We're really excited to see you and Babano work together all year long. Let's get to work. C-Mac, you're coming off an excellent week 7, going 4-1 plus 3.20 units. You start with the Carolina Panthers, Cincinnati Bengals, and you have been focusing with great success on the prop market. Who are you backing here?
You know what? This one scares me a little bit, Jimmy, because I told you a few weeks ago, the more the weeks go on, these numbers start to get bad. So I might have to look to some unders, or you got to find the gems here. I took this in the morning. It's 63.5. You can get 61.5. It's minus 125 at FanDuel or DraftKings. But I got to take him here. He's been red hot. This is Bengals, Panthers, obviously. Walker's in at QB. They've lost McCaffrey. There's no Hubbard. Top corner out for the Bengals. Woozy. Flowers is out. I got to go to DJ Moore. Over 63.5. Receiving yards, minus 105. I even think he might get in the end zone. I'm still thinking about it. His touchdowns plus 180. I don't know if he gets 3 straight weeks, though, in the end zone. But I think he's the only guy that can get going. I mean, everything seems to this game right now to the under. And there might not be points, but he's their best guy. Walker and him got a thing going. If he's going to get anything today, I think it's to DJ Moore. So I'm on the over 63.5.
Over 63.5 receiving yards at minus 105 to get Connor's cards started. We then move to Packers, Detroit Lions. And you have 2 player props that you are attacking here. We've talked about the injury issues. It's really just Devondre Campbell is the big situation here, out for the Packers. They're leader in the linebacking core. But let's hear your prop action. Take it away, C-Mac, Packers, Lions.
Yeah, real quick with that DJ Moore, his catches, are 5.5 plus 115. I just think he could get a big couple. I mean, I like that play a little bit, but I don't know if he gets 6 again. Yeah, let's get to it. Packers, Lions here. Let's get right to it. Finally, they hand the ball off, and they even kept to it. They were getting their ass beat by the Bills, were the Packers. I'm going right to Aaron Jones. The Lions give him 154 rush yards a game. This is crazy. And this is how they should do it, right? It doesn't always have to be 20-10, but Aaron Jones needs to get twice as many as Dylan there. So I think he gets anywhere from 17 to 20. You're good here. Over 66.5 rush yards, minus 110. I think he gets it. His anytime touchdown is crazy. It's like minus 170. I can't touch that. But he should eat here. Aaron Rodgers' receivers are out. Just hand it off. Let's get to it. You mentioned Lazard is in. I really don't give a shit. That's my other prop in this game. On the other side, St. Brown's been really, really good. I think his numbers are a little bit high, and they're going to get him the ball. No Hawkinson. I don't mind that, or Williams. But I'm going to guy. I thought this was low. He has no receivers. Give me Robert Tonyan. Over 3.5 catches, plus 105. He had 10 3 weeks ago. He had 5 last week for the Bills. Come on. You're telling me Rodgers can't get him 4 today? I think he does. Robert Tonyan, over 3.5 receptions, plus 105. I think he gets that easy today.
I love it. Aaron Jones over 66.5 rush yards to minus 110. Rocco Rogers using the rush and receiving at 99.5. And then Sharpie saying that he's with you on that Aaron Jones look as well. So you're in great company. And then you have Tonyan over 3.5 receptions at plus 105 for Packers Lions. That moves us to the next spot on your card. Maybe the last spot. You said there was a possible addition. So let us know that after this look. Vikings Commanders. We've talked a lot about this football game, and this is a fresh look that no one has talked about. So this let the chat know your action here in Vikings Commanders.
This should be a good game. I gotta like Clint for his balls to go with his Vikings. I think they're a flawed, 6-1 football team, but we'll see if they've gone on the road already a couple times and covered the number. Can they do it again and win by 4? It should be good. Right here, Taylor Heineke. People have mentioned, I forgot who it was earlier. Maybe it was Spenny, Terry McLaurin. I've liked him. I've used him the last few weeks. They have something going. I would take his 4.5 and even go to 5.5 and get plus money. 4.5 is minus 160 now. They have a thing going. I don't mind that at all, but I like Heineke here. I want this guy to be in the backyard running around. He did it last week, just 26 yards. I think he does that here. It's over 13.5 rushing yards, minus 110. I think he gets this easy. He got this 10 times last year. And when he goes off, like 13.5 is nothing to him. Let him run around, let him do his thing. He might throw a pick or two, but I think shit will break down and he'll get this easy. He gets 20 rushing yards. Give me the over 13.5. I think this cashes.
Over 13.5 rush yards at -110. That is your fourth bet here on the card. You said that there might be an addition. Is there going to be an addition, or are we sticking with these 4 looks?
We're sticking with these 4. Here's the problem. I was going right back. I obviously like Walker with the Seahawks. He's going to get the touches. He was 18 for 51. He's at 73.5. Don't mind it, but I didn't make my card. And last is Herbert for the Bears. Problem is, Dolphins have a pretty good defense against the run. You have about 100 yards, but he's been getting the touches, and they moved him up to 39.5. You can get 38.5, but I moved it up 39.5. You get it right around -110. This is what he's had, Jimmy, all year. 45, 38, 157, 77. 11's been his worst. 77, 62, 99. I mean, come on. And now you're going to give him 15 carries. It's tough, but I'm just going to keep it as a lean. I think still Herbert, even if he doesn't have a day, I think he gets over that 39.5.
I love all of these looks, C-Mac, and you're running real nice here. C-Mac, in the last 3 shows you've done with us, you are 11-7, and you are plus, what's that? Or you're just over 5 units up because you have these big anytime touchdown cashers that you've had cashed a +170 and a +165. So you're running nice. DJ Moore over 63.5 receiving yards at -105. Aaron Jones over 66.5 rush yards at -110. Robert Tonyan over 3.5 receptions at +105. Heineke over 13.5 rush yards at -110. And you are looking at the star of our new NCAA basketball show that premieres tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. C-Mac, thank you so much for taking the time to hang with us here and headline this show. Go out there and get that cash. Any last words for the cappers supporting the show?
I will. Can't wait for college basketball. Shout out to the chat, to everyone that's hyped up for Arthur Meade. Good to see you. Jake Kaiser, our guy. Jeffrey Blue. Everyone in here. I know you're going to hit them all, Jimmy, but the best goddamn chat in the goddamn game. I always have to say that. Thank you so much for having me, my guy. Let's cash.
There he is, C-Mac in the house. This will be the second show, so now we're week 9, where I'm not adding anything. I am very interested in the Monday Nighter. I got some time to sit on it, and we're going to be live betting it. This is my action here. I've got 7 bets, and I haven't added anything since my lone edition, which was Tennessee KC under. But I have Miami, Chicago Bears over 45.5. These are all bets made on Tuesday night after the Gridiron Gamblers. Colts +5.5. Indianapolis, New England under 39.5. Buffalo, New York Jets under 47. Commanders +3.5. Raiders -1. And Tennessee, KC under 45. Again, our Circa Millions ticket is the Bills -12.5. The Jags +1.5. Vikings -3. Patriots -5.5. Chargers -3. So I'm going heads up against 3 of those 5 bets on the Circa Millions. So that's not going to make watching these games easy. We had a great group of guys today in the chat and great group of cappers on the screen and in the chat. So thank you guys so much for all of your support. Pimp Slap play today is on the under 45.5 in KC, Tennessee. I hope you can hang with us tonight, Mike, so we can hopefully cash that together and maybe live bet in if there's an early touchdown. That would be pretty nice. If the Chiefs roll all the way down and score a touchdown, but we know the Titans are so strong on third down, by far the best in the league. People are only converting 25.8% of third downs against them. That's very, very impressive. And then they're so good in the red zone. So I'm hoping that we'll be in business there. Let's review action here quickly. I'm not adding anything, so I don't need to rush us out of here. Gogster gave us a correlated parlay. He was our first guest, +7.5 on Washington, the over 36.5 at +100. Then Gogster gave us the Lions +7.5 and the over 40.5 correlated parlay, also at +100. Then he gave us the Bengals -7 at -101. And Chris Brady saying he'll DM me a prop that he likes and why. I love it. And there's the Gambler's First Glance. Yes, I bet that on Tuesday. I love seeing Razor's Gamblers First Glance correlating with my action. Ooh, that makes me feel very, very good. Why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't it? Let's take a look at Big Ragu's action. Also, we got max bets from Lamont Williams. He's max betting Tampa Bay money line, and he's a 2-team parlay, Bengals and Miami money line. Big Ragu coming to us live from, actually, why don't I touch LJ from H-Town gave us Michael Pittman over 4.5 receptions, Paris Campbell over 28.5 receiving yards. Ragu gave us the Patriots -4 and the team total over 22.5. Live from the Orleans and Vegas. What a class act great guy is. Jags first half at +117. Seahawks +2 at -110. Bucks first half -1.5 at -110. And he gave us a teaser. Falcons +8.5 and Seahawks +8. Spenny Pennybombs joined us after a spectacular debut here on the show last week where he went 6-2 +3.88 units. He's also on the Bengals -7. He's on Scary Terry over 65.5 receiving yards and the over 43.5 in Minnesota, Washington. Again, we're 10 minutes away. Not only we're 10 minutes away from action, but we're 10 minutes away from the NFL Pub Zone hosted by our guy Sharpie's Bets. So that's in 10 minutes right here. So jump over there right after this. Packers, Lions, you have Williams over 50.5 rush yards. Jamal Williams over 50.5 rush yards. And then Titans first quarter +3.5 from Spenny Pennybomb. So the over 43.5 in that Minnesota, he's got Jamal Williams over 50.5 rush yards, and he's got Titans first quarter +3.5 at -107. Then we move on to our guy Birdie making his second appearance here on NFL Pub Hub. He's on the Falcons +2.5. Falcons money line at +125. London over 38.5 receiving yards, and Everett over 50.5 receiving yards, and anytime touchdown for Birdie. Then he's on Carolina, Cincinnati under 43 at -114. He's on the Lions first half +3 at -111 and full game +4 at -102. He's on the under 46 in Bills Jets, just like myself and our guy Razor. He's also on Jets Buffalo first quarter under 9.5 at -108. He's on the Commanders +3 at +106 and the money line +155 and Dalvin Cook under 74.5 rush yards. He's on the Seahawks first half +0.5, first half under 24 and the Cardinals money line -125. Then he's on the Rams +3 at -112, money line +136, and Akers anytime touchdown at +220. And he gave us a parlay that was Commanders +3.5, Rams +3, and the Bengals money line at +340. Billy Brisbane, our leader in NFL Pub Hub, gave us Scary Terry over 4.5 receptions at -140, Josh Allen over 39.5 rush yards at -110, and Everett over 50.5 receiving yards at -128. There we go. Razor. Oh, got me. Okay. And then Panthers for Clint McLean. Panthers +7 -102. Panthers defensive touchdown +800. Then he's on the Dolphins -4 at -101. Vikings -3 at -115. -9.5 at +220. And Hawkinson touchdown +235. Man. Then he's got a 6-point teaser with the Lions +10 and the Colts +11. Those are the spots there. Then C-Mac is on DJ Moore over 63.5 receiving yards. He's on Aaron Jones over 66.5 rush yards. Tonyan over 3.5 receptions. And Heineke over 13.5 rush yards. That is our entire show. Thank you guys so much for your support. All you guys. We have nothing without you. Viper NB, Nutflush Allen, we are thinking of you and your father, sending you guys love and all the healing energy we can to your dad, praying for him. Big Daddy Boom here. Said, speaking of Flightline, do you know Authentic had a better time on the same track for the Breeders' Cup? Wow. That's wild. Oh, that's wild. I didn't know that.
Flightline, by the way, retired.
Yeah.
Retired. There's your breaking news. Thank you, Flightline, for the money.
Sad. Kevin Lee, Terry Walker, Gerald Jones, Teflon Don, Arthur Meade Jr., Kevin Lee, Chris Brady, Mike M., Razor, Jake Kaiser, Nunya, Cheshire Cat, Birdie, Damon Santori, Harold Williams, Talk Sports with JT, Jeffrey Blue, John Lawson. Thank you guys all so much. Thank you for your support. Rocco Rogers, Cheshire Cat, Dale Lowenstein. Thank you guys. Moneyline Mills, Turnsey, AOD. Thank you guys all so much. 6 minutes. 6 minutes and it all goes down. Let's go out there and get that fucking money.